fuck, like, please, like, take as much time as you want. Be yourself. I love it.
You can hear all the dirt that's going on in the show you're about to see.
I'm so excited for that. Have you considered directing yet? Or
somebody else asked me that yesterday.
Like, you're so knowledgeable about stuff, and you really commit to things, and you like have a great attention for detail. So like,
I got asked to be Rocky Horror director for IP, and I said no. I was management at work. I feel the same way about directing as I feel about management. I can do it. I can do it. You may not like me if I do it. Because I care a lot, and I take it personally when other people don't care, and then I get weird and resentful, and it's really unhealthy for me, actually. So I feel like directing would probably be the less extreme version of that, because it wouldn't be an ongoing. It would be that for that one show, and be like, all right, peace, bitches, bye. Like, after those too much, I can fuck off and do my life. Yeah, I don't know. I could. And I've had a couple of friends actually ask me to do it. And I was like, no, I'm not ready to do that yet. So we'll see. But I would like to learn more about all the things first before I do that. Because I feel the same way like about how I feel about managing restaurant. That you are a better manager the more different things you know about the entire thing. And the more well-versed you are, like the better you can speak to everyone else. And it's the same thing with plays. Like you can't convey properly what you need out of a sound person or a lights person or an actor or whatever if you haven't done it, or even if you haven't done it, you have to at least know some stuff about it, because it's really hard to ask for things if you don't know what they are. I would like to maybe eventually at one point I'm probably just going to do a one-woman show, and I want to open it. I've decided that the opening is literally going to be the first 30 seconds of me screaming bloody murder, and then excuse myself by going, well, now that we've gotten that out of the way, let me explain myself. That's how I want to open my one-woman show when I do it someday. It's literally 30 seconds of me screaming bloody murder.
Just to get it all out, just get the energy there.
I'm like, this is how I feel about most of my life. Here you go. Let me explain why.
One cathartic scream later.
I told Jay that. He's like, yeah, you should do that.
I think you should. I think that'd be like the best way to like hook the audience. Like, what is happening?
Everyone just shits their pants. Like, what did I sign up for?
You want to write your own show, or do you think you gotta like pick one up and just be like, I'm gonna do this?
I'll probably write one maybe someday, but I don't know. But I'm not a writer. I would make someone help me probably that's better at it than me. I don't claim to be a good writer.
There's many ways to write. I know like those guys who like have like great concepts and ideas, and then they're technically writers because they find somebody who can like fill in all the minutia. Like I have plot A, B, and C figured out. I need a guy to help me figure out how to get to A, B, and to C. So that's always a good form. Having a co-writer isn't a bad idea. I'm going to black the screen out. That way I'm not looking at it constantly because I have ADHD. I found that out. And, well, it's undiagnosed, but I'm pretty sure caffeine makes me very sleepy. And I have to have like, anytime I'm doing something by myself, I have to have some type of audio stimulation also in the background. So if I'm playing like a game, there's got to be a YouTube video playing. Or if I'm like cooking, I have to have music. Or if I'm writing, I have to be listening to something. It doesn't matter what it is. I've learned that I love like long form video content. I listened to a 21-hour video of Berserk.
Nice.
For fun. It takes me about 3 days to get through it. And then as soon as it's over with, I'll be like, damn, that was so good. Let me watch it again.
I don't know what my problem is. I got tested because I will stand in my kitchen and I will start doing a million things, and I'll leave the room and I'll come back and I will go do something else and I will start like 16 things. And then I'll end up in the middle of my kitchen going, focus, fucker! And I'm like, finish a thing. And then like I got tested through my therapist because I was like, I don't know what's going on with me. I was like, I don't know if I'm like ADHD, like depressed. Like I don't know what my problem is. There's something, okay? There's something. And she tested me for all the things. She's like, yeah, I don't think you're ADHD. And I was like,
damn.
I was like, task paralysis, time blindness, I was like multitasking like a motherfucker, have 18 million hobbies. I was like, are you sure? Are you sure? But she's like, no, fuck? I'm like, severe depression and anxiety. I was like, oh, interesting. And it asked a load of trauma. I think my body just doesn't know what to do, and it just goes, ah! And it swirls because it's just like, I don't know what to do. Fuck it, we're gonna go over there.
Which explains the scream.
No, I don't know. I'm like, no one knows. She kind of tapped out, actually. She's like, well, she's like, I feel like I'm poking the bear with you. I don't know how to fix it. I was like, I broke a therapist. Okay.
And some people would take that as an accomplishment.
I didn't. I went to another one yesterday and I told her voice was annoying. She tried to do a guided meditation and she was going faster and I can't breathe right because my bottom of my lungs don't work. And so she was going faster than I could figure out how to breathe lower. And then because she kept going, her voice got really annoying. And then she's like, did you get there? And I'm like, no. And she's like, oh, really? And I was like, no, I tried, but then I couldn't breathe right. And then you kept going and then it was too fast. And then it annoyed me. And then your voice got really annoying. And I wish you would have stopped talking. And then she's like, valid points. I was like, I'm sorry, I just met you like literally today, but my bad.
She seems to have a great personality for the job. You know what? That's a good insult. I'll take it. Let's go.
And then she sent me this video of a guided meditation, and the guy's voice is really demanding and terrible. And I was just like, why are you? He's like, feel more. I'm not kidding. It's like, literally, he's like, feel more. And I'm like, it sounds like the Wizard of Oz. Like before he comes out from behind the thing, and it's still like the big scary thing. It sounds like that guy trying to make you meditate. I was like, what kind of weird relaxation shit transition is supposed to happen here? I was like, I feel like there should be a flying monkey. Like, please go away.
What the hell?
So so I don't know what that is.
I don't know what that is either.
I fell asleep during the recording because I got really mad and then I didn't know what else to do. So
well, have you tried soft yoga?
No.
So soft yoga is kind of like guided meditation, but you do it like yoga poses. So they're like long form like poses. So you'll do like child's pose.
You realize I have a flexibility of a chopstick, right?
That's why yoga's. They're not like, but they won't be like straight. They're not. So this yoga isn't supposed to be like physically demanding. It's not like you see like the people like a fucking pretzel themselves and all this crazy shit. It's none of that. It's gentle poses that are very like body friendly for any flexibility level.
Okay.
And then it's a guided meditation with those like in those positions. And then like literally the last 20 minutes of it, you have a blanket and a pillow and you just lay down and you just forget about the world. And you just sit there. It's wonderful.
That's great.
There's a place called Lotus Pond that has a really good guided meditation. So and every like month they do like a candlelit version of it. So they feel like, and they have like a cabin. Like
cool.
It's fucking dope. It's like right next to veterans.
Okay.
It's like it's like in this wooded area, and they have a cabin, and you just fill it up with fucking like candlelights, and you just sit there in the candlelights and like this like soft guided yoga meditation shit, and that's just what you do, and it's fucking beautiful. I was like, oh my god, I love this place.
Neat.
I had to stop going there because it's too fucking far from where I live now. It's just
It's
not feasible. Like I live like to get there because like the guided meditation sessions would be at like 6 or 7. So even going from like South Tampa to like Veterans, that's like an hour and a half like commitment drive wise because traffic is awful here.
I go from St. Pete and I work in Midtown Tampa, so it like takes me like 45 minutes plus to get to work every day. Like if it's a Friday or Saturday or Thursday, Friday night, and I have to be there at like 5-ish or 5:30. Yeah, I better leave an hour.
Oh my god, I'm so sorry.
Like to get there. I'm like, and then if there's a wreck on the bridge, I call them and I was like, I'm gonna be there eventually. If I had a party, give it to somebody else. So,
are you still working at Bella Brava? Mm-hmm. How's that going for you?
Fine.
Yeah.
So they're red. I've been with them for 13 and a half years. I mean, like,
holy shit! I know you've been there for a while.
Yeah. I helped them. Like, I worked at the St. Pete one for 10, and then I helped open the Midtown one. I was on the training team, and then we've been there for like 3.5.
Nice.
Almost, something like that. And then I helped them open the one in Land O'Lakes too.
There's a Land O'Lakes one there?
Mm-hmm. And we opened that one last January.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, I helped them open that one too.
Okay.
I yelled at people then too. I'm yelling at people recently. There's a lot of dumb. I can't handle it. I can't handle dumb anymore. I'm like, I'm just not even nice. Is this what 39 is? Is this what 39 is? You just start telling people they're fucking stupid?
I feel like the older you get, right, the less fucks you give as a whole.
So,
like, because I've even found myself, like, I'm a pretty patient person with a lot of people. Even if somebody's like a complete asshole, I'll still be like, okay.
I will to a point.
Yeah, and then, but even I found myself just kind of being like, you know what, fuck this guy. Like, I just don't care. I'll just walk away. I don't have it in me to like be confrontational like that unless it's actually provoked. So I'll just be like, cool story, bro. And I just like just be done with it because I don't care anymore. There's so much time or so little time in a day. I don't have the energy to invest in bullshit.
Yeah. Mine is like when it comes to like a show or when we were opening the restaurant and they were not providing me the information that I needed to do my job, when they were not communicating with anyone and I was about to teach a 3-hour panel on the Toast POS system and the Toast was not loaded into Toast.
That's something
because no one told the guy that runs Toast that he needed to put everything in there by the time we did all of the things. So I'm literally 5 minutes away from teaching panel. I'm like, wait, what? Dawn! Put the shit in right now, please. But no, like before we opened, I reamed the general manager because I was just like, you have not told me, you want me to teach this panel on this thing that we don't have at the other locations, and you guys haven't figured out the answers for how to do this, but you expect me to teach it, and you won't tell me anything. So I don't know what you want me to teach. Like, you're teaching this, and I was like, And then I was so mad I cried, and I was screaming. I was like crying and yelling at the general manager, and she just slides the manual over because like the plug for the espresso machine didn't work because they did not pick the right one.
Oh,
and so the thing gets there and we can't plug it in, and I can't learn how to do it. And she just slides the manual to me. She's like, "Do you want to read the manual?" I was like, "I really mean, I'm fucking crying!" And left. And one of the other managers was like, "I didn't realize this was a bad time." He just walked away. So, but they were fine. I ended up taking over their entire food show because no one was prepared to do it.
That's basic.
So my ass came in, and then my voice blew out, and then I came in the next day with a karaoke machine and continued.
You just had that readily available?
I had just ordered it because I wanted to learn how to do karaoke, and it came in and I hadn't used it yet. And then I was like, well, look at this being convenient. So I brought it, but because I had laryngitis, I actually wore it to my shift. I strapped it to my back with a shopping bag, like one of the that ones, and I wore it like a little backpack, and I had a karaoke machine, I had a microphone in my pocket, and people thought I was going to like break out in songs the whole time. No, it was just literally because they couldn't hear me, because I worked a double with laryngitis. And so I walk up to my tables and I'm like, "Hi, my name is Jenny. I'll be taking care of you today." Without this microphone, I sound like this. So we're going to do this. And they were like, "Oh, okay." But I had to turn it kind of around because I was like blasting the people behind me, and they were like, "Ah." It was funny.
Your commitment to things is fucking, like, you need to be studied. Like that.
And then I short circuit and throw a fucking weight bench at Megan.
These things happen, you know, like, you're not perfect.
I felt so bad. I didn't know what to do, and like no one was moving, and I had to get it off the stage so that like fucking Teddy wouldn't take himself out, and I couldn't get off the stage fast enough in my heels, and so I just threw it. I didn't know what to do.
You did what you thought was right.
And she's like, "Why did Jen throw things at me?" Because Jen panicked.
I feel like you did what you felt was the right thing to do at the appropriate time. It happens to everybody. Einstein couldn't tie his shoes. Nobody's perfect. You know, that's what it is. So, like, and I'm sure Megan isn't like upset at this point in her life anymore about that random incident. So,
I'm still upset about it.
Oh, no.
I'm like, why did I throw shit?
That happens.
I'm crazy.
No, you are who you are, and I think that's beautiful. I think you are a beautiful person.
I'm something. I'm something. I don't know what it is. Someone will figure it out.
Or not, which will make it even better.
That's fine.
That's who you're a legend.
Like a fucking Loch Ness monster. I'm the one that swims around in soup. It's actually a ladle, but no one knows.
You'll be spoken about in the shadow.
I really do want that ladle, though. There is a Loch Ness monster ladle, and I need it.
Is there really?
Yeah.
That's awesome.
So I can swim in your soup. It's awesome.
We should like try to like get like something on track, right? Right? Does that sound like a good idea?
I mean,
yeah, we're here. So let's start with your acting, right? Like, have you always wanted to be like an actor?
No.
Really?
No.
You could have fucking fooled me.
No, actually, no. So I never one time, and ever in my single kiddom, ever thought that I would be an actor. Never one time. I did not. I tried to audition for a thing once, and I sang "Twinkle Twinkle Little Star," and I panicked, and it sounded really bad, and I almost peed. So I was like, nope, we're done. But no, like I was the nerd in elementary school. So for like the Christmas pageants and shit, like they would pick me as one of the ones that actually had something to do because they're like, oh, you'll follow directions. So I was like the partridge in the pear tree, like 2 different years because they were just like, you're the nerd. You do it. And that was fine. But I was the kid that always liked to play dress up, but I like never... And like always kind of wanted to sing, but wasn't really good at it. And so I was like, okay, well, this probably isn't for me, but I really would like to, but that would be fun. But yeah, no, I'm not. And then when your parents tell you when you're 6 that you have to be smart and get a scholarship, like you're not really tracked to run away and join and sing some shit and join the circus of acting. Like, no, you're like, oh, I need to do something productive and financially stable. So I was kind of groomed for that like my whole life. So that was not a thing I ever thought I would do. And it only happened through like a track of stupid events. Okay. So I was dating someone that lived in Tampa, and I was still living in Gainesville going to school. And I was like, I took dance and language and all the other shit. So I was arty, like I always knew I was arty. I was taking design in community college and whatever. So it wasn't completely out of the realm of things, but like it was never like a thing I thought I would pursue as a professional. But so I was doing a long distance relationship with this person in Tampa, and then he had a friend and it was like, hey, you guys have a lot of similar interests. You guys should hang out. Like you would probably be really friends. And so she pinged me and she's like, hey, there's this body paint show at Art Pool in St. Pete. Do you want to do it with me? It sounds kind of fun. And she knew that I was like adventurous and stuff. So I was like, yeah, no, that sounds great. So like meet this girl and like do this body paint show at Art Pool. And she has a panic attack and leaves like mid-show, like covered in paint. And she's like, I can't, I gotta go. And I'm like, oh, okay, well, this is a great time, so I'm gonna stay, but hope you feel better.
Thanks for the invite.
We drove separate and everything, but like it was the first painter that I had, and I had a great time. And he forgot to paint my butt crack, so it was really awkward. But so I had fun, and he also used acrylic, so it was like cracking everywhere. So even more silly. But I ended up having a really good time, and I was like, oh, I want to do that again. And it wasn't that far from Tampa, so I was like, oh, okay, well, I drive anyway, so fuck it, whatever. And so the second time I came back, because they would do shows like every month. The second time I came to do that, I got paired with a painter named Chelsea, and Chelsea was on Interchangeable Parts. And so we started working together, and then when I graduated UF, and I did this for like a year and a half, where I would come almost every month and do body paint shows. And I worked with Chelsea every time except for the first time because we just got along really well. So we're not friends anymore for reasons, but like we would always work together. So when I graduated UF, I was having like a complete mental breakdown, and it was either move to China and try and fix my Chinese level because my major was Chinese, or and like teach English or something over there and try and do that, or move to St. Pete and figure it out because I had family over here and it was arty and it seemed fun and I needed to go find a life because I had never had one. So I was like, I need to go do something else. So I ended up picking St. Pete. And then when I moved to St. Pete, I ended up joining Interchangeable Parts because Chelsea's like, do it. And so I did. And then I started performing. And then through doing that, Jay Ashworth ended up coming to the show one night. And he used to be part of IP like a while before that, like in the 90s and shit, like when they formed. And then stopped for a really long time. And then he like just showed up in the audience one night and talked to me because I was playing Rocky. And it's like girl Rocky. And he ended up coming back a bunch of times and we ended up being friends. And he does sound stuff for theaters. And he was doing sound for Gulfport community players for visiting Mr. Green. And so we'd known each other for a while by that point. And he's like, hey, the next show that's coming up is called Stepping Out and it's a tap dance show. And there's a part that you make sense for. You should audition. I said, no, no. I was like, I do Rocky Horror. That's different. There's a movie back there. I can copy that. I was like, I don't have to conjure that shit out of my asshole. I was like, that's different. And he basically like picked me up by the pants and like made me audition. Like he like threw me in there almost. Like if you can verbally throw someone into a place like that is what he did. So he made me audition and I actually didn't get it. I didn't get cast. I was like the second choice, but the other girl's schedule didn't work out. So they ended up putting me in and I ended up winning an award for that show. But it was like my first show and I was like, what the fuck just happened? And then I was like, well, actually that was kind of fun. So I kept doing it. And I just didn't stop doing it. And I'm still doing it. But like, it's my favorite thing to do. And I had no idea the whole time. I should have been doing this the whole time. Because unless my director's being a stupid asshole, like it's really like my most fun thing. I love doing theater and I've done costuming and I've done lights and sound and tech and whatever. Like, and I do quick changes. I've jumped in for stage managers when they're not there. They get plantar fasciitis and have to leave between our 2 show days.
I'm sorry, what?
Community theater. One of my most favorite stage managers in the whole wide world. She's one of my favorite people on the planet. She has plantar fasciitis and her feet really, really bad. And so we would have 2 shows on Saturdays and one day her feet just exploded and she couldn't do it. She had to go home.
Oh my God.
And she's like, my feet hurt so bad I can't even stand. I have to leave. And she's like, can you do my job? And I was acting in the show, but I wasn't a very big part. So I was like, yes, I can, but the one change I'm helping him with, I can't do that now because I have to be over there to do your job. And I was like, is there anyone else that can help him with this change? And there was somebody else. And I was like, perfect, I got it, we're good. Because I was paying attention. She's like, I know you pay attention. And I was like, I asked her a couple questions that I wasn't sure. And then she left and it was great. And I've also screwed in flats and stuff for other stage managers when they're running late. And they're just like, hey, can you just screw the flats in? I'm like, sure. So yeah, I just had no idea that I would end up here. I'm still surprised continuously that I'm here. I don't know how I'm here. So, every time I get cast and stuff, I was like, I still am always surprised. And Heather and Walter are always just like, you basically don't have to audition. I was like, no, because what if someone shows up and they're better than me? I was like, I'm going to give that bitch a run for their money. Are you kidding? I was just like, I never want to get to, I told Cash this too, when we started dating, because date the director, weird idea. But I told him to his face, I was like, listen, if you ever give me anything I don't deserve, I will fucking kill you. I was like, I will punch you right in the fucking face. I was like, don't you do that to me. I was like, don't you ever fucking do that to me. I was like, I don't want anything I don't deserve and I don't want anything I don't earn. I was like, do not give me anything. I was like, do not favor me. Sure. And he's like, okay. And he didn't. I lost a lot of roles that I wanted for cons and stuff because there was no one else to play something else. And I play all the things. So he's like, will you play the thing? And I know you wanted this one, but will you play the thing? I'm like, yeah, I'll play the thing. Duh, I told you I would. So I would just play whatever the thing was. So, and that's fine, but he did what I asked. So I can't complain. But yeah, no, just every time I get a show cast, I'm always happy and surprised. Yeah. I never want to assume I get anything. And I've duped some shit out for some roles. There was one I wanted really bad and I was going to leave town and I pushed it to the next day so that I could be there for the second audition if that girl came back. Cause I was like, I'm not losing. I'm not losing. I was like, you don't know yet, but I'm not losing. I didn't lose. But I have lost before multiple times, but I was not going to lose on that one. So,
what was the role?
The one that I wanted?
Yeah.
It was a play called Stop Kiss, and it's a play about 2 women that have been otherwise straight their whole lives, have never dated other women, and hadn't really heavily considered it. They end up meeting each other, and the play exists on a split timeline. So it bounces back and forth between the current time and the buildup of their relationship. And it meets in the middle at the assault that happens to them when they share their first kiss in a park. Because it's during 90s. And it's when homosexuality wasn't very widely accepted. So it starts out and it bounces back and forth between scenes. So you have the first scene is just like when they meet, and then the second scene is now it's like questioning after the assault, and it bounces back into where they meet again. And so it goes back and forth the whole time through the whole play, and then the end of the play is the middle of where the assault happens. And the role is really cool. The character's name is Callie, and I wanted it really, really bad. And unfortunately, we got it wasn't promoted very well by the producer, but people were afraid to come because they thought it was going to focus on the assault of the two women, and it wasn't. It was actually the relationship between them was the main focus of the play. It just so happened that there was an assault, and it was addressed through half of the play, but that wasn't the prime focus. And it scared a lot of people away because they didn't want it to be a bummer during Pride Month, I think is what happened. But the play's fantastic, and I am really happy I got to do that play.
That's awesome.
And it was as fulfilling as I thought it was going to be. And it's the most costume changes I've ever done in one show. There were 23 scenes. I was in 22 of them, and I had 25 changes, I think. And changes were like either something as simple as a shirt or it was full change. But one of my scenes, I was sitting there changing clothes on stage, just throwing off shirts, trying to decide what to wear. So there was like 5 shirts in like one scene. But then I had to have like 30 seconds, and it would go, because the timeline was split, it would do you go from one moment like haha happy just met, like having a romantic moment, to crying because you're getting questioning about your girlfriend being in a coma now because she just got the shit beat out of her. Oh my God. So there's no emotional turnaround. Like you have to be just ready, and you get like 30 seconds max to switch. So it's like you change the clothes, you get on, and you cry. Like that's all you get. Like that's all you get. So it was a really cool challenge, and I knew that going in because I read the play before I auditioned, and I knew that it was going to be something that I would get to grow and flex and try. And I like those. It's the same way I feel about the one I'm rehearsing right now, is because I knew that because she does multiple voices and she's playing multiple characters at the same time, and because she has a secret and it's slowly getting revealed the whole time, and it is a cool power dynamic, I really wanted to play it. I like challenging roles. Yes. So, yeah.
Is this like this current play that you're doing right now, is this like the most challenging one you've played before? Or
no.
What would you say that would be? Oh, I know. Deep question.
Hardest. There are multiple roles that were hard for multiple reasons.
Okay.
Beatrice Hastings and Modigliani was difficult. Okay. Because that was the first show that I worked with Patrick Bradford. And Patrick Bradford is the best director I've ever worked for. I love that man. Okay. He is now deceased. But he was the one that saw that I was worth a damn and wanted to make it better. And he was like a head honcho in New York, like huge theater guy. Like could walk into a restaurant and people save tables for him kind of guy. Holy shit. And the fact that he saw me and wanted to use me was a huge deal. And that show only happened because I took a method acting class with him and my now stage husband, that I call him my stage husband because we've been engaged 3 times. But we got paired together during the method acting class for a scene from that play. And we like literally we fucking murdered it. It was so good. That's awesome. But it was a dramatic scene where like I'm literally thrusting a paintbrush in his face, and it's about the artist Modigliani, and he's a drunk and he's wasting his time and he's like frittering away his talent and everything else. And I'm his fiance and I'm frustrated and I'm like, fucking paint, you asshole. Like, you know? And so I'm like sitting there topless telling him to paint me because he paints me all the time. And I'm like thrusting a paintbrush in his face and paints me and slaps me in the face. And so we're like having a fight, you know, and like it was a really intense scene. And I had never really worked with Rob before. And I hadn't worked with Patrick before. And Patrick said to me after we were done, he's like, I thought you weren't getting it. I was wrong. And then he came to us both afterwards and he said, if I decided to put this play up as a main stage show for Gulfport, would you both audition? And Rob and I looked at each other and we're like, yes, abso-fucking-lutely yes. And we ended up doing it 2 years in a row. And Patrick had directed the show in New York previously, so he already knew like what he wanted out of it. But we did cabaret style, which was different for Gulfport. But we kind of had to because of the topless situation and everything else. It's not something Gulfport normally does. So, But yeah, so that during the rehearsal process tapped into a bunch of stuff with my really terrible first relationship that I wasn't quite ready to deal with. And I started crying during one of the rehearsals, and the director was like, "If you're gonna cry, cry harder." And I was like, okay. Yeah. But it was a really fulfilling role because it was the first time that like anyone professional had ever seen me. And I was trying really hard not to suck at it. And I have footage of that scene from the first year we did it because Jay filmed it. Wasn't supposed to, that's against copyrights. But like I have that scene and I look back on it and it's nice to see one, like, that I wasn't totally terrible. I wasn't great, but like I was okay. Like I was good for what it was, for where I was. Like I'm fine with it. But it's nice to see that I've gotten better. And like what changes I would have made, like watching that scene and everything else. So that was different. And then there was another show that I had to sing a cappella in just at the end, and I don't trust my singing skills. And that was really hard. Like every time I walk up there, like my intestines were about to fall out of my ass. Like I like terrified. I'm terrified to sing on stage.
Are you?
Rocky Horror Show, because I was buried in ensemble, was why I got away with that. And I literally struggled so hard. Rocky was hard.
Is it?
Because my middle register blew out while we were in rehearsal. Like because of Baby Make 7, when I was doing so many voices and screaming as an 8-year-old French kid, like my voice was already like has a hard time for singing because I have physical issues. But I think I blew it out worse because I was doing like dorky 7-year-old dog kid and 8-year-old French screeching. Like I was having a really, really, really hard time vocally in that show. So that was really hard because like Rocky Horror is such a big deal for me. And then to finally get to do the actual show and then have such a hard time with your voice is like a fucking blow. So yeah, that one was rough.
I'm sorry.
But it's okay.
I thought you did great personally.
Thanks. Yeah. A couple of people told, like, they recognized me and I was like, what? Like out in the wild, I'm like, they're like, were you a Rocky Horror Show? I'm like, who are you? Like, how do you know what I look like? Like, I still don't think people know who I am. Ever. Like, I'm just like, wait, what? You know me? Like,
I mean, you do a lot of shows.
So
it's easy to see that you have some local fame at this point.
So I don't know, but I don't know. I get happy that people still cast me. That people want to use me, and I'm just trying to keep it that way.
Oh. I don't see that.
And there are so many things I want to play. There's so many. Like I was just like, so many.
Is there anything that you're looking forward to, like in this upcoming year, that you want to try to go for?
A lot of the auditions happened already. There was some stuff that I wanted to go for that I ended up not getting, which is okay. More auditions will probably happen later in the year. There's nothing specific I'm looking at right this moment. It was audition season, and then when I realized that like some of the stuff I really wanted I didn't get, I was like, okay, fine, let's finish the medical and do that. And so I was like, okay, that's fine. And I'll take sewing lessons, whatever. Like, so that I don't lose my mind every time I have to make something. But yeah, so we'll see. But a lot of casting happens in the summer.
Is it?
Because there's the big unified audition that happens in June, which is the big cattle call audition where multiple theater companies come and they all sit in the auditorium. You get 2 minutes to impress everybody.
What the fuck?
And so I do it every year. That's how I got my first professional show. For Job Site, when we did 3 Penny Opera, was through the Unifieds.
Really?
It was when Cash was in the hospital and he was literally still admitted. I went to the audition and then I left stage, and right after I left stage, David Jenkins from Job Site emailed me and was like, hey, do you sing? And like, so I was checking the email. I'm sitting there in Tampa General and I was like, I was like, do I? Yes. Should I? Debatable. And he's like, well, come to the dance call. I wanted to see you for 3 Penny Opera. I'm like, because like I'd never done a professional audition before. I was like, oh my God, what the fuck do I do? I've never been to a dance call. I freaked out. I tried to practice a bunch of stuff. I tried to rip the taps off my tap shoes. There's so many staples you can't. So I bought other ones, and then there was a wreck on the bridge. I was almost late. I walked in. Then I slapped this girl in the ass because we were reading a prostitute scene, and I literally didn't ask. I wasn't even thinking. I like literally just like full hand, just like whoosh. And I was like, I don't even know this chick. I'm like, I'm so sorry. And they hired me anyway. I was like, why did you hire me? I literally smacked a girl. Like, what? Who me out. But yeah, so I ended up in 3 penny opera because I smacked somebody.
I love it. It's beautiful.
God.
If there's any, that's probably why you got it.
I mean, but they had told me later, they're like, yeah, you were a little manic in that audition. I was like, a little bit. We were channeling Riff Raff really hard that day. It was, actually. Because they wanted creepy and weird and like gaunt and like, Brecht is weird. So, and they skew weird in job site. So I was like, all right, well, we're going full Riff Raff. Let's go. It sounded like a good idea at the time. I guess it was.
It was.
But yeah, nope. That's how I got that. But yeah, no, most of the stuff happens in the summer because a lot of seasons start in September. So they'll start casting in like June, July, August, and then cast, through August or so and keep going. Okay. And then you'll have stuff pop up later if it's too far. Some theater companies don't cast that far ahead. So
fair enough.
They'll see.
Okay, cool.
But I watch auditions, all stuff on Facebook and whatever all the time. Like stuff always pings up. And I'm like, ooh, interesting. Yeah. So usually Off Central will do auditions later in the year, and I think in Lab will too. So I might end up with something else.
Yeah,
we'll see.
I'm excited to see that. Do you often like reference back to Rocky characters if you're like trying to go for a specific role, or is it just depending on what the role is?
Depends on what it is.
Yeah.
I'm kind of pulling some Frank Confidence for this current show right now because I am not a sexy person. Okay, I am a gangly human, and trying desperately not to look like George Costanza on a divan. I'm awkward, and so I'm leaning into Frank a little bit because I was like, you're the sexiest thing I play. So hopefully it works. I'm not trying to lean too hard, but I was just like, I need some of your sass. Like I was like, and Vonda's sassy, okay? Like I have sass during I've sassed a couple of times where I'll like say it in Vonda voice and I'll say a note or something or I'll make a comment and I'm like, no, we're not doing that. Calm down, Vonda. Right?
That's great.
My co-actor forgot a line and he's supposed to take a compliment and he ran over it a couple times in a row and I was like, God, Rob, take a compliment, damn. Like in the middle of rehearsal, like, shut up.
No, don't shut up. I think it's great. I'm a terrible friend because I will encourage the behavior. I think it's fantastic. Like, keep fucking doing it. Don't stop.
No.
Do you ever find yourself getting like lost in a role? Like every once in a while, I know that's like something like I don't know if that's like a cliche thing or something like that. But
so there are different ways to do it.
Okay.
Like when people typically think of people getting overwhelmed by roles, they're thinking of like the Heath Ledgers and everything else, where you go into method acting. And method acting is like diving really deep into things, especially if you're going dramas. You're digging into personal, like your own. Like I am Jenn. I have personal trauma. Let's use it and live in it for like ever and use it for the show, and that can be really dangerous depending on what you're doing. Mm-hmm. There are other methods of acting where you do less of that. There's one that's safer where you focus more on what does your body do when you feel this way. Do your shoulder blades clench? Do you clench your teeth? Like, do you make fists? Do you whatever? And like sometimes doing that particular action and making your body feel that specific way will trigger that emotion for you.
Okay.
Everyone does it differently.
Right.
Be safe about it, whatever you're doing. But but there are roles that are harder to play than others for sure. One of the ones that I played that was rough was I was a heart transplant recipient that was dealing with the survivor's guilt of being a heart transplant recipient because to get one of those, somebody else has to die. Yeah. That's the reality, and that's rough. Yeah. And my character was dealing with that and the grief and the anger and everything else that was going on with it, while simultaneously like meeting the family of the person whose heart she has. And one of the scenes at the end of the play, my character specifically is with the family, and we're sitting in the graveyard where the person is buried. And my current director was actually playing the father at that time. And there's a scene where I end up taking his head and putting him to my chest so he can hear his son. and my character loses it, like full snot crying. Like the lady playing the mom had to bring tissues onto the stage because I got so into it and I was snotting so hard that I was making a fucking mess. But like every night, like I was destroying the audience. Like, you would hear it. Like either everyone would go completely silent or you would hear everyone cry. Like you hear people sniff and like everything else, and they're just like, like you can hear it. And it's so fun when people are so invested. I love making audiences cry. And I know that's like a really shitty thing to say, but like it's such a cool confirmation that they're invested and it's cathartic for a lot of people because it gives them a reason, you know, to cry if they were upset about anything. Like, here's your reason, let it out, friend. Like I love that shit because I like to go see stuff that does that for me too. So but that role will wipe you the fuck out. Like the ones that are really dramatic like that. The Stop Kiss one that I said that was on the split timelines with my girlfriend's in a coma. Yeah. That one's hard because you have to tap in, like, how would you actually feel? You know, like if your significant other's in a coma because you kiss because you're gay. Like that's simply that. Like you can't even do that. So you do have to invest. You do have to prepare for investing. Comedies obviously are easier because you're just having a great ass time. But like if you're playing something like, you know, if you're doing Macbeth and everyone's dying around you, you know, or you're playing like something if you're playing, you know, something rapey or whatever, like it's going to be kind of a harder deal. And, but yeah, you do have to commit to being what that character is and understanding why they feel that way and how they got there and what happened before that. Like why are they reacting the way they're reacting? And that if you're not doing that, you're doing it wrong. And it's very obvious when you go see shows when people are not invested. So
yeah. Fair enough. No. You fucking say less. I love it, dude. It's awesome. Let's see. So I guess we can like migrate back to Rocky for a little bit, but I'm loving this whole conversation. So, all right. So doing like IP, you just kind of like jump straight into it, or was it like a slow migration for Rocky? Was it just like, hey, I'm here. My name's Jenn. Where do you want me? I'll do whatever. Or was it?
It was kind of another got thrown in by the pants. So Chelsea made me like kind of join the cast, and I was like, okay. I saw a couple of shows, and she's like, okay, I'll help you. I'll help you learn it. And I was like, okay, I'm a nerd. Okay, I like being meticulous and being detail oriented. Obviously, anyone that has been in my vicinity knows that I'm a fucking psychopath, and I will sit there and figure out the fingers. But I started learning them, and for what I don't even remember why. I think the first actual show I did was White Trash Night, and I was Rocky because it was like the easiest role, and I was dressed up as a sheep, and I had a sign that said, "Softer than your blow-up doll and quieter than your mother," I think it's what I said. But I was just wearing the sign in a sheep costume, and I was just like wandering around chewing on things. So it wasn't actually like a full show; it was like a regular theme night. I think was actually the first time I did anything, and then the first actual time I tried was Dinner Scene Brad. Okay. And I was so scared. Like you could see me visibly shaking on stage, scared. Like I went to throw the punch and it was like, but then I was like, oh, okay, well, if I'm going to do this, then I'm going to learn it. And then I learned all of them. So we did all the dinner scenes, and then I started doing, I don't even remember what it was probably Rocky. Was like the first main role I did. That makes sense because the costume was the easiest. I don't even remember anymore, honestly. But yeah, probably. But the dinner scene Brad stuck out because I was like really terrified. And it was like the first time I'd been on stage like in that capacity, like ever really, you know, to do anything on a stage as a show when I wasn't covered in paint, like, you know, or sheep costume. But yeah, no, I like just obsessively learned all of them because that's what I do. And I would end up at the theater because she had a key. So we would end up at the theater like after hours, like random nights of the week, and like just practicing blocking and shit on stage. Okay. And I would just watch it repeatedly at my house like all the time. Like, and I just ended up learning all of them. And then I learned all of the leads. And then and then Frank happened, and then I was dissatisfied with my performance, and then I cried behind a air conditioning unit, and then I did not do it again for a year until I practiced a lot. I like refused. I refused. I did. It was a theme night. It was the first time I played Frank. It was a theme night. It was Tim Burton night, and I did Frank as Jack Skellington.
Nice.
And everyone was totally fine with what I did, but it, like the whole like the pommel horse like weight bench yada yada, that scene, I fucked it up all over the place. Blocking wise, it was a mess. But I was so disappointed that I didn't get it right, that I just cried and I like did not touch it for a year. I like would not play it. And I'm like, absolutely not. And then eventually I played it again and it was fine. But and now I play it all the fucking time. But yeah, no, Frank was like the holy grail role where like I wanted to play it. I knew I wanted to play it.
Yeah.
So
that's awesome.
I didn't think I'd want to play Janet. Actually, I lied to myself. I thought I was going to be a Columbia Magenta. I lied. I lied so hard. I like to play them occasionally just for funsies, but like they are not my roles.
No.
I actually do like playing Janet. She's actually pretty fun.
Yeah.
And I didn't think I would like it.
I can kind of see the appeal, but like, what's the appeal for you? Because like for me,
Janet,
yeah.
I just thought it was going to be like a pink fluffy twatty role, and she is like, but I don't know. I think I like one that she gets mad stage time. If I'm going to do some stuff, I want to be there. Like I feel that same way about regular shows. Like if I'm going to take time off work, bitch, put me on stage. You better keep me there the whole time. I don't want to sit there until act 2. Fuck that.
Fair enough.
And then, but yeah, no, she gets mad stage time, which is awesome. But I also like her character progression, which is fun. Yeah. Just because she goes so like her dynamic changes so much by the end of the play. And she gets some fun racing moments, and some of it's funny and. Like, it's fun to be that bubbly thing sometimes, without making it a joke, obviously, but it is fun to play that. Yeah. So I don't know. That was the role that surprised me.
I guess she does have like the most character growth. Like if the entire ensemble of the film, she is like probably the one that like goes from like, mild manner to like full sexual awakening.
Yeah, she's interesting.
She is.
Yeah, she's interesting. I don't know. Like, yeah, I don't know. It's fun, but not everybody feels the same way.
No, I can definitely see that. Like, I don't think I'll ever probably play anything besides Rocky if they ever asked me to. The only other person that's ever really like stuck out in some form or fashion is maybe Brad. Just because
he's pretty fun too.
Yeah, just because I don't know. For me, it'd be like it's probably the closest to who I am as a person, like and like and I guess in the most emotional sense, like I don't try to offend.
Chilling.
Yeah, like, I'm just a guy trying to be happy. I don't know. I don't know what else. Like interesting people come into my life and I'm like, I love everything about what you have going on. I want to learn more about you. I want you to be my friend. And that's about as like extreme as like
I think that's why I like Riff and Frank so much, is for that similar sort of reason. Yeah. Riff Raff has a lot of brooding resentment, and so do I. As a person, I've been shafted a lot of times and I've taken it personally. So I do understand the resentment. And then Frank is just like, I also like would never say anything. And forever I was quiet. This is a newer development for me to go tell directors that they're being assholes. Like this is very new. But Frank was kind of like just does the fuck he wants to. Like, I was just like, people do that, like, and it's a thing that I couldn't do in real life. So it's fun. It's fun to play the things that you can't do in real life, or you don't think you can do in real life, because it gives you a chance to try it. Or at least just do it, like just see if you can do it, but yeah, those are my two, like those are my top two. Janet's really fun too. I like her progression because I kind of had one of those too, but the whole like, 2, not so much. But yeah, so those are the 3 I resonate with the most, and those 3 are very, very, very strong choices for me.
My first time seeing you, this is when you were with COP. I don't know how long you were with IP.
I started IP in 2011.
Okay.
So, and then I was with IP. We were at Beach Theater until like 12-ish or so, 12 or 13. Then we went to Tri-City 8, and then they closed, and we went to Seminole 8. And then I left at Seminole 8 in like 2015. And I was going to quit Rocky in 2015 when I was leaving IP.
Really?
And because at that time, everyone just kind of gave up doing a good job, and I can't do that.
Yeah.
If people are coming to see me, especially if they're paying to see me, I want to do a good job.
Fair.
If people are going to give me their time, they could be doing anything else.
Yeah.
If they're going to give them time to come see me, like I want to give them something worth seeing. Like, and it didn't seem to be the mentality at the time. I can't speak for it now. I don't know what it is now.
Yeah.
But that's where it was. And so I was like, I can't do this anymore. I'm out. And I actually got convinced to go to CLP through Parker and Alexi and Stephen Platter.
Nice.
Because they were coming over to CLP, and I was like,
really? Okay.
And I was like, guys, I don't know. I was like, I might be done. I was like, I played everything. I was like I'm doing okay, you know. And they're like, no, just come. And so I ended up showing up and then doing it, and still doing it. I don't regret.
Good, as you should. No, I saw. I
got to hug Tim Curry dressed in Frankenfurter because I stayed. So I mean,
life goals.
So whatever, man.
I got to see you play Riff Raff. That was my first time getting to see you, and I was awestruck. I was like, "Who the fuck is this?"
Was it the Christmas show where my hair lit up?
No, it was like because I came down in town.
Everyone lost their shit on that one.
I wish I could have seen that. Fuck, I'm mad now. It was like because when I was still living up in Delaware because of the military stuff. It was like one of the last times I was able to come down before I moved over to California.
Oh, okay.
So like, and you guys happened to have a show that weekend, so I came and saw you guys. This is when you guys were still at the Tampa Picture Show too, by the way.
Oh,
so,
right.
Yeah. So it was like, I came in. I saw you perform, and I was talking to Cash. I was like, "Who the fuck is that?" And he's like, "They're fucking killing it." And he was like, "I was like, that's Jenn." And I was like, "Fucking Jenn's fucking amazing."
Well, thank you. But yeah, I was a solid riff for like the first year because Bruce dipped.
Oh yeah, he did.
Yeah, because oh my God, brain, Lauren. And Minnie was leaving. And Minnie, I guess, was Bruce's favorite Magenta. And like, so Bruce just dipped. He was supposed to be a riff with me. And so it was just me. Like I just took over riff. I was like, oh, I guess I'm here now. That's fine. But yeah, so for the first year I played like nothing but riff raff. And I ended up playing other stuff, but yeah. But I like riff a lot. Like riff is great. So people don't give riff enough attention. I've seen so many shitty riffs. I'm like, y'all.
Yeah, when the energy's not there, it is very like
there's so much in him though. There's so much. Fucking commit. So
I think what was so like, I don't know, Rocky's such an interesting like show, right? Because when you talk about like Shadowcast, I feel like in a lot of aspects, like I was spoiled with CLP because of how dedicated and how serious it was taken versus like going to like a more, I don't want to say standard cast, but a more typical cast where it's not so much about the show itself, it's more about the community. And so a lot of the times because of that, the performances are, I don't want to say lackluster, but the commitment isn't to like the highest standard.
Yep.
And that was like a reality shock for even me because like I went and I joined a cast in Virginia when I finally like lived a life, and I was like, you know what, Rocky, I miss doing that. Let me like try to get back into it. And like I come in there doing like all like just doing tech and like doing props and everything like that. And like my standard for props is everything goes where it's supposed to be at the exact time. If I am seen by a light,
you are the best. You're the best fucking thing thrower. I'm just like, yes.
That is 4 years of me honing that skill specifically.
It's so good every time.
Because that's to me, that's what it's about.
I was like, what the fuck is the thing called?
The throw? I don't know. The veil?
I don't know. Veil's good, I guess.
The veil throw. I don't know. But yeah, like, so for me, that is the standard, and that is my standard every time I do props for a cast. So then I go to this Virginia cast, and I'm like, hey, I want to be your props guy. And they're like, we've never had a guy who just wants to do props. And I was like, oh. Well, I'll be your props guy. And they're like, okay. And then like we have our first show, and well, you've seen it now, like how I run everywhere. There's no time for me to stand still. I am on 11 from the time the show starts till the show ends. And until I throw your piece at you, I don't chill because there's nothing to chill for.
Right.
There's always something to be moving. There's always something to be getting into place. If something isn't happening, I need to be helping one of the actors get their costume in place. Like that is, to me, that is what I'm supposed to be doing. And I brought that same energy over to that, and they were like, what the fuck are you? And I was like, they're like, you're fucking Spider-Man crawling underneath the fucking lights. Like, you're 1 minute, I saw you on stage right, you were over stage left, and then you're back on stage right again before I finish my sentence. Like, what are you doing? And I was like, that's how
what props do.
Yeah, I was like, what do you mean? And and they were just like, thank you. Like, no, you're welcome. I was like, this is just, I don't know. I was like, that's just how I'm used to doing a show. I was like, I physically can't do anything less than that. So, and then like, I work with like, I had a prop guy from like their show to it, and I wanted to throw shade at the guy, but it was like, he just walk on stage and just like hand the prop over. And I'm like, what the fuck are you doing? Stop. I would get visibly angry to the point where I just told him, I was like, you should just sit down, man. Like, you look tired. It's okay. It's late. It's our second show. Like, have a beer. I got this. And he's like, are you sure? I'm like, yeah. It took literally no convincing, but but I had to, because I was like, I refuse to let our show be any less than like decent.
Right.
So I don't know. Maybe, I don't know. I don't know. I just rambled. I apologize. I don't know.
No, I felt the same way. Like the times where we've had Tampa Theater, like the one time the floor was turning into a bog and I fell on the carpet, and it was like the time where Barry Bostwick was there, and I was trying to change into my lab coat and I fell over and I had this fucking wet spot on my thing, and like I was just like trying to come out, and I was just like, don't talk to me, because I was like, literally, it was my fault that I fell over putting my fucking shoes on, and it looked like I pissed myself sideways, and for Frank, it's such a big deal to have a good Frank for a show. Like if you are a shit Frank, you take the show down with you.
100%.
And like I've never forgotten that responsibility. So like I get really upset like if it's something is wrong, like especially if it was my fault. Like I'm just like no. But I can't.
Yeah.
I can't be a shitty Frank. I refuse. I've seen them, and it ruins it.
Yeah, no, it does. It could definitely like take somebody out of a show, and then like especially like seeing like, I don't know, not just you, but I've seen some other good Franks. I don't want to get into like names and everything like that, just because. But like seeing like performers like you do Frank, it makes it really hard to like watch a bad Frank, and like be okay with it.
Right.
Like sometimes I'm just like, I think I'm gonna go home. Like, no, like, I'm not, like, I gave you my money, I gave you my time, I brought a prop bag. I might buy some merch if you have cool merch. Because some of the cast's merches that you'll see, like the DC cast has some really dope merch. Yeah, if you ever get a chance, go see the DC show. Okay. They have a fucking movie theater basement. It's fucking awesome. Oh my god, yeah. I love those guys. We tried to go see them when me and Sima went up to that area during the holidays. Okay. But unfortunately, like they weren't doing a show until like that following weekend. And I was like, fuck, man. Like, it'd be great. No, that's why I came.
I have my Hocus Pocus count, but this is over here.
What would you say keeps making you come back to Rocky?
Multiple things.
Yeah.
Part one, like Rocky Horror was special because it got me into my theater journey in the first place, and it helped me find my literal most favorite thing to do. So like I owe my current life to doing Rocky Horror. Like if I had not joined a Rocky Horror cast, like I would not be doing what I'm doing right now. I would not be in rehearsal for a show right now. Like I wouldn't. Like I wouldn't. I would be doing something else. I would probably be doing something way less interesting. I don't know. Not using Chinese probably still, but it's fine. But yeah, no, I like the nonsense of it. I love that there's a movie that's been going on so long that so many people have so many memories tied to. I like it. It's also kind of like, it's kind of DDR for me too. I know that's like a really stupid thing to say, but like when you have a movie behind you and you have to match it, like getting it right, you get the little light match and you're like, yes! Like one of the most satisfying moments is when I caught a picture of my cape throw, and my cape did the exact thing the movie did. I had nothing to do with this. My cape just had magic that day. I saw the picture and I was like, I'm done. I could quit now. Like I could quit now. My cape literally was fucking screen accurate. I'm done. But like it was the best. But yeah, no, it's sort of like DDR because it's like I want to be the best version of it.
I've never heard that before. That's a great analogy.
I'm just like weirdly competitive with myself, and it's like mostly myself. Like it's not even like competing with a bunch of other people. It's literally most of it is because I want to be better than I did it last time. Like I just want to be insane. Like leave me alone. Let me do it. But I also like the roles are so familiar at this point. And I like jumping in and playing them sometimes as a nice reminder of how I've played them and see if I can find something else in them. Like sometimes you can, you know, like sometimes you miss something, you know? And then just the community is really fun. Like everyone's like, it's such a wide array of people that do so many different things. And that's theater in general. But just Rocky Horror has this special little bubble around it of nostalgia. And it's a thing that shouldn't exist. Because there's so many things that are not PC about it. And there are so many things that like just don't fly now. And it's nonsense. And the plot is crazy. It's full of holes. But it's just so good. And you can't help but like it. You know, like, you can't. If you don't, I'm sorry. Like you're not my friend. But like, but I mean, there's just something good about it. Like it's just you have to do it.
No, I agree. I have a friend of mine. She was like, actually, how I used to pick friends would be like, she'd be like, "Have you ever seen Rocky Horror Picture Show?" And she like, based off that answer, would depend on how much time I gave that person. And I was like, holy shit.
Nice.
I mean, that's a good fucking, like, that's a good personality weave out. Like, if you know, you know, right? So, like, fuck yeah, no, I agree. Like, do you have, like, a memory from, like, your time in doing all of this, Rocky or theater-wise, that, like, sticks out to you the most?
Probably the first time I did Tampa Theater is Frank.
Yeah?
If you've never played Frank, Tampa Theater, I think the first time I played Frank, Tampa Theater was still like 1,400 seats or something. Like it's more than it is now because they remodeled. Now it's like 12 something.
Oh shit. Okay, wow.
So, but it used to be more. Like now the bottom, like they redid the seats and make them bigger and there are fewer and they give more like room. And the top they left alone. But, so they lost a bunch of seats.
All right.
But when I first played Frank at Tampa Theater, it was still I think 1,400 seats or so. And like I think our show was sold out, or if it wasn't, it was very close.
Oh shit. Okay.
I don't know if there are appropriate words to tell you how fast your intestines want to fall out your ass in fear and how big the rush is when you come out with your back to the audience and start. All you're doing is tapping your heel. That's it. And you have the entire audience going, sex, sex, sex. All you do is turn around and everyone loses their fucking mind. And so it's like the first time I ever played. I don't know if it was the first time I ever played for that many people, but it was a really special venue. Like Tampa Theater is special.
It's magical.
And it's my favorite place to perform. And I just that moment I was so scared because that's a lot, you know, that's a lot. But and the responsibility for such a big show, like 1 year, you know, like one show that year in that venue, that's all you get, you know, like you fuck it up, it's a big deal, you know? And so like that was a huge deal. And like that rush was insane. And like as soon as you turn around, like there's no off for Frank. Like you just go and like hopefully nothing explodes. And like it just kind of it took over where like you're like scared, turn around, and then you just have to be sassy, and, like you fucking rip that stage apart, like, and it was weird to have that moment of confidence take over where you don't have the choice. But yeah, the turnaround was a big deal because I literally, I think I shit like four times before I walked up to do that. Like, and I'm a nervous peer. You're welcome. But like, I was like, oh God, 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 oh God. I like just standing back there, like sweating. I'm like, please don't let me fuck it up, please, for the love of God. Like I was dying. I was so sorry. I was terrified. But yeah, no, I did it.
You did it. Oh,
no,
it's a shame I couldn't have seen that
one. But I don't even remember what year that was because I've only for Tampa Theater ever played Janet, Riff, Brad, or Frank. I did Rocky for Ritz, but I've never done him for Tampa Theater. Just because the Janet, Frank, and Riff are my top 3, so that's what the ones I auditioned for. Though I did audition for 5 roles one year.
Nice.
They're like, Jen, stop. But
it was like my favorite thing during like our rehearsals is like watching the one Jenn show. It's great.
Well, it's really hard to rehearse when you don't have the person next to you, especially when you're new. And I used to be the blocking coach on IP, so like when I was still playing everything all the time, because for IP when we were doing it at that point, you could just volunteer after the show and you would play whatever you volunteered for the next week. You could play anything. That's how I learned them all. Is that because you could volunteer for whatever as long as you had a costume, they didn't give a fuck.
Fair, okay.
Learn it and just do it.
Nice.
So that's why I learned them like that, is because I wanted to play everybody. So I ended up playing everybody, and then I ended up playing everybody for dinner scene 3 different times. Which is really fun. It's ridiculous, but it's fun.
How does that look like?
You were not there for that?
No, I wasn't.
I did it at Picture Show.
No, I was like,
oh my God.
Remember, like when you joined.
I have video of it. I'll send you a link.
Please do. Oh my God, that sounds amazing. Because but by the time you like. Basically, like when that second generation of people started joining cast, I was already out the door. I already joined the military. So like when I came back, I was like, who are all of these? Like, what is this? Like everybody's gone that I know. But they all seem like wonderful people. So like I never really got a chance. And I came down so sparsely because of everything that I had going on in my life, where it was like there wasn't really a chance for me to really like come and like really sit down and like see you guys like on a consistent basis. So I didn't miss like you do dinner scene by yourself, but like knowing you as a person, that sounds fucking amazing.
Yeah, I came with pieces of all their costumes on, like so I was wearing a conglomeration of everybody, and then like every time the screen switches, you jump in and do whatever it is, and like I was jumping over the tables, I was throwing slaps and then getting in the way and receiving slaps, like it was fucking ridiculous. But it was like the 3rd time I'd done it because I did it on IP because people kept talking about it and they're like, oh, I'm going to do dinner scene by myself, and multiple people had tried, but they didn't study, and you can't do that without studying. And like the video that I have, I was in the wrong place, like where I realized I was the wrong place. And I'm like, fuck, like, I was just like, nope. But still, I got pretty close, man. But yeah, I spent hours jumping over a trunk. I had a trunk in my living room, and I had them labeled like F, B, J, R, C. And I literally spent hours. I'm sure I pissed off my downstairs neighbor, but I was just jumping over this trunk for hours, just practicing, because I was like, no, I'm not going to play 5 people at the same time and not practice. Fuck that shit. Played it, and they were like, what the fuck? And then I did it for CLP, and not everybody knew about it. And so there weren't enough people to play dinner scene that week, I think is why I did it in the first place. There's just like nobody wanted to or something. I don't remember. And I was like, I'll do all of them. And they were like, what, really? And I was like, fuck it. And Cash let me do it. And he's like, do it, fine. But so I walk up on stage and they're like, what, oh my God. And like everyone figured out what was happening. They're like, what the fuck? I was like chasing myself like around the aisle. Fucking stupid.
That's awesome.
I was very sore at work the next day though because the platform's kind of high. And so I went to get down. Went to get something on Expo line. I went to go stand back up and I was like, hurts. And they're like, Jen, what's wrong? I'm like, nothing.
That's fucking dope.
But yeah, no, it's fucking silly.
That's amazing. No, I think that's fucking great. I don't know what you're talking about.
Oh, I would do it again anytime. It's hilarious.
Fuck. I hope I do. I hope I get to see that. That sounds awesome. I want to see that in person one day.
But yeah, finding people to play dinner scenes, sometimes people just don't want to. So
no, they don't. No, people don't like that shit.
No.
I think it's great, like how the Tampa Theater has it, just having like a whole dinner scene cast makes things so much easier on everybody's part. So I think it's fucking dope, honestly. Let's see. I think that was pretty much hit everything that I need to usually say in like a conversation for like all of this. So like, but I've been enjoying this conversation so far. So we can end it right here. We could do like so I have like one thing that I like doing with people before. Like, if
you got more questions, ask. I don't care.
I don't think I do, honestly. No, because usually it's like, how'd you get into Rocky Horror, right? And then it's like, okay, what was your first character? What character spoke to you the most? And then like your favorite memory. Like what keeps you coming back, and then like I think like the last thing that I always end off with is just basically like, what's your favorite like callback line?
Okay, this is gonna sound really fucking dumb because I have been doing Rocky Horror since 2011 pretty continuously.
Yes.
I ignore them really hard. So many people use them, and I've never been this person. So many people use them when they're on stage to base what they're doing on stage off the callback lines. Yes. I ignore the fuck out of them normally. So there are so many lines I actually don't know because I perform most weeks. And so it's very rare that I'm usually sitting in the audience just listening to them. So there's actually quite a few lines that I don't know because I tune them out because I'm busy listening to myself or paying attention to the other actors or like really intently listening to the background noise, especially for riff. Most of riff's cues are background music, like really, really low cues. Like if you're looking for precision, a lot of his stuff is really, really quiet. And in Tampa Theater, when you have everyone screaming, it's really hard to hear them. And so I'm focusing more on trying to find those that I am actually listening to the lines. And plus, like a lot of times people will throw them at me and I don't want to break character, especially for the bigger shows. I try really hard not to. So I try not to listen to them. So I will tune them the fuck out and people will say stuff to me and I'm like, what? I didn't hear it. And they're like, seriously? I'm like, So I actually ignore them. And then if you actually sit and watch a show with me, because I don't really know all of the lines, I know some of the standard ones that I tend to hear all the time that like, or whatever.
They're like the songs and shit.
The basic song ones and stuff. But if you ever sit in a show with me, I just make up shit the whole time. Just fucking conjure shit out of my asshole. It's different every time. Like there's no reason. But yeah, no, actually I surprisingly know very few of the consistent lines.
You're one of the very few. That is awesome, dude.
I know that's super weird.
No, that's awesome. What the fuck?
I do like Eat Your Veggies Bitch though. I like the Slut Eating Tree. I just generally like the Slut Eating Tree. I think it's funny, but Eat Your Veggies Bitch, it makes me chuckle every time. I know it's really dumb, but it just makes me laugh.
That's usually
I always think of like veggies and hummus every time, and I'm just like, snacks. Like, and then I like, go about my business.
I think that's the best ones. The ones that are like they're just so like just right in there, and you're just like, what the fuck? Like my favorite, like one of my personal favorites is like, I'm grateful to you have you and your brother Woof Woof. And it like there's no rhyme or reason for why that makes me laugh. I just think it's funny just to hear woof woof. Like that's so
nice. Yeah, mine I'll sit there and like it's usually more criticism like, Janet, aren't you gonna shut the fucking car door? It's just raining. Like no one ever says it. During Rocky Horror Show, I made the director, I was like, when Dr. Scott comes through and like when he enters in and he's like rolling down or whatever, I made him say, what is it? Uber Eats, your walk and roll is ready. I was like, you have to say this. I was like, you have to just scream at the delivery. You have to say, Uber Eats delivery or walk and roll is here. And then let him roll in. I was like, please just do this for me. Just He did. So thank you, David.
That's amazing. So now I have like a second follow-up question. Everybody just go into some other shit. Have you ever had a line while you performed that made you just break character? Seem like such...
somebody said something to me one time. I think it was Mason. I don't remember, but somebody said something to me one time and I fucking lost it as Frank. But normally it's like the worst thing that happened was when I hit Gabe with the fucking flogger, like in the worst, best way possible. And like my aim is terrible until it's really, really good. And there's no consistency here. Like I have no control over this. So we found. I went to flog Gabe because Gabe was playing Riff and I hit him, but I hit him like pristine tips of my flogger, like just fucking filleted him. And he's like, motherfucker, against the front row of the seats. I lost it. I was like dying laughing. I'm like, I'm so sorry, you okay? I'm like, I'm just dying as Frankenfurter. I couldn't even help it. I like lost my whole mind. Like, and then we only had one person in the audience, but we did a Disney night and I was Ursula as Frankenfurter. And so I came in full Ursula and I was PMSing really bad. So I was super rowdy that day. And I was beating the shit out of Matt as Eddie with my tentacles. And like, I was just annihilating him with my tentacles. Like just losing it. Is there soft? They were like, yeah, whatever. But like, and then it turned into tentacle porn in the dinner scene and stuff, or the bedroom scene. It was silly, but
as it should. That's usually,
as it absolutely should.
That is the natural progression when the tentacles are involved.
But no, yeah. Normally it's not the lines that get me. It's usually something stupid happens, and I'm just like, dude. For weekly shows, for the big shows, I'm like normally, but. Except for the first show this year. Like the first show, so many things were happening that were odd.
Yeah, it
was a rough show for me.
I think it was a rough show for everybody, honestly.
Yeah, that was a rough one.
I'm glad we found our footing for the second one.
Yeah.
I think that was definitely where we were supposed to be.
Yeah. Time, so. I felt bad because I was literally picking shit up and throwing it around. Like I was just like, well, Frank is throwing things now. I was like, that's just what we're doing. This is what we're doing. Please don't die, everyone. Like some of it was like death worthy, and I'm like, they're gonna die. But like I'm also like just in regular theater too. Like I'm usually pretty aware of when stuff is in the way and when it's going to be a problem later, because I'm used to looking for that. And like the first show, the one that I won an award for, that I wasn't the first choice, and I like had no idea I was supposed to be. Yeah. So this girl came out, like she was playing the lead, and she hadn't have past costume. She hadn't turned around yet, but she had her skirt tucked up in her waistband. And so she's been doing a couple of minutes of whatever, but her shit's tucked up in the back and she hasn't turned around. So no one's seen it, I don't think. And so I come in and like brand new baby actor, I have no idea what I'm doing. And I see it and I'm like, and so I'm like walking in on the stage and like, I just come by and I'm like, yoink! And like yank her like right out. And it's just like, keep going. But like I've picked shit off of people's, picked stuff off people on stage, fixed apron strings, like whatever, like picked up shit that's in the way, like thrown off. Whatever. I'm like, oh, cards, you're gonna die. Don't die. And usually do it in character, if I can help it. I was in a play once, and it was black comedy where it's a reverse lighting technique. So the play starts out when like the very first play starts, you hear our dialogue in the dark, and for them it's in the light. But then their power goes out, and the lights come up, and you can see us, but we can't see anymore. And so we were wandering around, and you can't, like as actors, you have to pretend like you can't see. I accidentally dropped the top of a decanter, like the top ball part. Sure. I dropped it on stage, but I am not allowed to see it. So I'm sitting there by the bar cart and I'm like doing all my lines and stuff, like on the floor, like digging around, like looking for this fucking thing. I can see it. I'm like, nope, can't see it. Not allowed to see it. And I was like, where is it? Where is it? Like looking under shit. Like, I don't know where it is. Like finding it. Like, God. But yeah, I fixed numerous things on stage before.
One thing I got. So do you prefer like big audiences or smaller ones?
It depends.
Yeah.
It's not so much the size of the audience for me, it's more of the investment.
Okay.
I do like intimate audiences because you can tell that they're there and you kind of connect with them a little bit more.
Yes.
It varies depending on whether you can see them. For Rocky Horror, it's a little different. And actually, this fucked me up when I started auditioning for regular theater because as Frankenfurter, that someone plays Frankenfurter, Frank targets the audience, okay? Like, he fucks with you. Like, I stare at people all the time. I come and sit on you. Like, this is a thing, okay? So when I started auditioning for regular theater, like, you're not supposed to stare at the people you're auditioning for. You can't just stare at them. guess which bitch was staring directly at the people I'm auditioning for and like targeting them. And I'm just like, yes. And they're like, Jen, you can't do that. And I'm like, oh.
Look me in the eyes.
Look at me. But yeah, so I had to stop doing that. I've stopped doing that. But I still don't really know where to look. I'm like, I don't know what to do now. But when we do smaller audiences and we're allowed to interact, then like I have a fun time with that. But usually I can't see you. It's more like how I said earlier, where like if I can feel an audience is completely destroyed, like because I've like literally wrecked their whole lives for that hour. You can feel them.
Yes.
When people are having a really good time, you can feel them. When they are just like, what the fuck did you just do? You can feel them, you know, like you can feel it on stage. And it's such a cool dynamic when people are really invested and you get that feedback when you're on stage, you know, you're doing something correct. And then like I've had really big audiences and I've had really small audiences where they're just super quiet and dead. And you're on stage, you're like, are you guys still there? Like, I'm like, I can kind of see you, but I mean, are you there? It sucks because it saps all the energy out of you as a performer to have people not very invested in it. So like you can have an audience of 1,300 people that's not invested and it feels exactly the same as it would feel if you had an audience of 40 and that are not invested. It doesn't matter how many people there are, it's whether they're into you. And then I've had audiences that had 5 people in it that were so fucking invested that they were just like, oh my God, that's the best fucking thing I've ever seen. And it was super fulfilling because those 5 people, like it mattered. So that's more important to me than bigger audiences. Though the energy when like the energy you get when you're really big audiences is all really into it, like that's really fun.
It's hard
because it's hard to beat that, like because it's super loud. Like for Rocky specific, most normal theater is not super loud like that, but unless you're laughing or something. But for Rocky, like when you're super loud about it and you have a really invested, really great, like really humongous sold out audience, like that's really cool.
Yeah, I love seeing like the standing ovations you'll get for fucking I'm Going Home at the end. That shit is like, I'm like, fuck, yes, that is fucking.
I sort of see them. Like at that point, I'm kind of elsewhere. But yeah, no, I'll see some of it until I start doing one of these, and then I can actually kind of look around at people. But yeah, it depends.
Okay, that makes sense. I like that.
It depends on where I am and if I'm trying to like if I'm having a hard time emotionally invested. Because sometimes I can cry like on that scene. Sometimes I have a harder time, and that happens in normal theater too. It's like some days you just have an easier time about it.
Sure.
But yeah.
It fucking depends. No, that's cool. Because when we had to go see, I can't remember the name of the play. Forgive me. When we had to go see you at the lab.
Oh, Pear.
Yeah, Pear. That we were. I feel like we were investing in that. I've always felt like not a sense of dread, but like a sense of like tension every time your character was interacting.
My character was such a bitch.
Well, like anybody, it was like every time I was like, "Oh shit, here she is." Okay.
Oh my God, the guy that was playing my son.
Yes.
His parents were in the audience, and they were right by where we had the mirror scene, where I'm like basically telling his wife or fiance, whatever, almost gonna be fiance, that she's not pretty. And my co-actor's mother literally was sitting with her husband, and she's like, like right in front of us. Like I didn't lose it, but I was just like, girl was bitchy today. But yeah, no, my character was a bitch. But she was a bitch for a reason. Like it was fun. I actually discounted a couple of notes during that production too, which is part of the process too. Yeah. But there was someone standing in for the director because the director had to go to town for family emergency. But they gave me this weird note, and I was like, no. And I had to tell the validation when the director came back. I was like, I got this note, and I was like, I don't agree, and I don't agree because this. And she's like, no, I think you're right. And I was like, thank you, thank God, I don't want to do that note, but because it didn't make sense for the character. But yeah, no, she was such a weird character to play. And that was my first mom role. And that was a little like because I was like, oh God, we're playing those now. But because the kid playing my son turned 21 during the run.
Did he really?
And I'm actually old enough to be his mother in real life. And I'm like, okay. So that took me a minute to come to terms with it. We're fine. We're fine.
I remember you talking about that when we were going to rehearsal. And I was like, I remember you, like, I don't know. I was like, every time you kept bringing it up, I was like, I'm really excited to see you actually play a mom for some reason. I don't know. It seems like something that'd be really fucking dope.
My parents told me I was creepy. They were like, you were creepy as fuck. Because they had to watch the virtual because they couldn't come. But because my dad had a stroke like right before my show opened.
I'm so sorry.
He's okay. But yeah, so obviously they couldn't come, but they watched the thing afterwards and they're like, Jesus. Jesus, Jenn.
It was in the eyes, man. I was like, oh shit.
Yeah. I'm glad you guys caught the stirring.
Yeah. That freaked me out. It's fucking dope, man. You know, for real. Good. No, you know what? I think this is a good stopping point, honestly.
Okay.
Yeah. This is great. Thank you again. This is fucking awesome.
Hopefully, you got what you needed.
I got to sit down and have a conversation with you. Of course, I got what I needed. Like, what the fuck you mean?
No, what the fuck you mean?
Yeah, we'll just call it a day. All right, you get that? Let's cut this bitch.